Hello and welcome to Elizabeth's Craft Room. Today I'm going to show you a project made using the Flower Patch stamp set and the matching framelits. They're on page 156 of the big catalogue, and if you buy these together there's a 15% discount, so watch out for that if you're thinking of ordering. So I've got a few kind of hints and tips while I'm doing this. These are photopolymer stamps, which are fairly new in our catalogue. So one of the reasons I chose them so I could have a go and see how they worked. And I've got a couple of tips for those and also for using the framelits. So I'm going to start off with a piece of Whisper White cardstock. This is an A4 piece cut in half and scored in half to make a standard card. I'm then going to take Bermuda Bay and I'm going to put a greeting on there. And the greeting that I'm using here is "You overwhelm me with your awesomeness." I just love that. So I'm going to do this now. The fabby thing is you can actually see through photopolymer. So no worrying as to whether you've got it straight. You can actually see exactly where you're stamping. Okay. Now, can you see I have got ink on my block? I'm doing this all the time at the moment with photopolymer, and it's definitely one thing that's a little different from our regular rubber stamps, is I'm either pressing, maybe they've got a little bit more give in them, I think, but I'm pressing a little bit too hard or rocking slightly on the ink pad and getting ink on the block. So watch out for that, try not to do that thing. So quite a few of the stamps that we have in here are two-step stamping. Can you see on here you've got layers that you can build up, and of course two-step stamping super easy when you are using photopolymer because you can see exactly where you're going. So I'm going to just stamp, and can you see I've done it again? I've got ink on the block. Now if I'd rocked that way as I put the block down, I would have picked that up. So I'm learning with you at the moment on how to do this. I'm just stamping these just roughly. I'm going to be putting a flower over the top of those, but I just wanted a little bit of the leaf coming out. I'm also going to stamp onto some cardstock. There we go. And we'll cut that out in a moment. So once again, a little bit more onto some scraps of card. I'm going to stamp the large flower image, and you get loads of these. You get 19 stamps in this stamp set. Now, another thing about photopolymer that's very good is the price. If you were buying a stamp set with 19 stamps in it, in our regular wooden stamps, you would be paying an awful lot more. These are super competitively priced. So let's just lift that up. And again, you can see where I'm going with that. I've done this in Tangelo Twist in the orange. So really nice image. And again, you can see where you're stamping. I'm going to do the next layer. I'll just peel that off. And I'm going to do that in Daffodil Delight. Now, this is an older ink pad, so our old style ink pad, so making sure that's well inked up. But again, you can see exactly where you're stamping, so I can put that onto that white cardstock without having to worry about where I am with it. And then finally, I'm going to take another layer and go back to my Tangelo Twist. And this time I'm going to be cutting these out with framelits. Look, I've got it on the edge again. See? And I'm going to just stamp straight on. And again, I can see where I'm stamping with that. Okay, I've got one more little piece that I want to stamp and cut, so I will do that at the same time. That's another of these little images. There we go. So I've brought in my big shot and we are going to cut these images. Now when I first tried to do this, I found it a bit of a nuisance because, if I show you on here, these are not completely even all the way around. And so I was turning and turning and turning and turning and trying to find where this piece went. What I realised was that in each case you could see something that made it clear. Now I'm looking at this now and I'm thinking that that one there pokes out more and that one there pokes out more. So what I've done is I've put two little dots. I don't know how well you can see that. Let me just bring that closer. I've put two little dots with a Sharpie marker on the ones that poke out the most. Now they're not all like this in the pack. Some of them you don't need to particularly line up. That one's quite well behaved, and I'll show you one of the others as well. Let's run that through. But I just thought, well, if I marked those the once, that was going to make it a lot quicker to line them up, and also for my lovely customers when they come and do class, to line up. So let me show you that again with one of the others that I found I needed a little help. So with this one here, let's bring it over the other side so you can see. I noticed, she's looking for it, this one here, this little piece here, looked more like the shape of a knife rather than rounded on both edges. So I found the one that looked more like the shape of a knife and made a little mark. And once again, I can now line that up and pop that through. And while I'm doing it, I'm also going to do the leaf. Now there is a stamp for this leaf shape, the background as well, but I'm just going to do this on some coloured cardstock. I stamped these in Bermuda Bay on Bermuda Bay cardstock. So I'll run that through and pop those out. And we'll just pop that one going back again. And when you actually work out those flower ones that aren't completely symmetrical, work it out on each one. You know, what makes sense to you as a reminder of which bit goes where, if that makes sense. And you will save yourself a lot of time in the future when you're using this stamp set. Okay, so moving on to that, we're now going to do a little bit with some dimensionals. So I'm going to pop this one up first. I'm going to pop the next layer up. Like so. I'm going to use some Tombow for my stamped and punch leaves. And just slot those underneath. And then, because for me more is always more on a project, I'm going to stamp in the Daffodil Delight down here, and I've done this little one and pop that up. And then we've got an even tinier stamp, this little one here, and again in the Daffodil Delight. You can never have too much stamping on a project, I always say. And the final thing I'm going to do is stamp a little leaf image. Oops. Just down there. And I'm going to take some espresso. Now this stamp that I'm just going to use here is actually a little stem. I'll show you here. So you can do that, and then you can put a flower on the top. Does that make sense? But I think also what you can use that for is just a little stem inside my leaf. So there you go. A quick and easy card made with the Flower Patch set. I've got some others. I'll give you a quick flash. Look at this one. Isn't that cute? I'm going to give you another quick flash. Look at that one. I'm going to pop these on my blog. So they will be on my blog over the next couple of weeks. So look out for those in more detail. I really recommend Flower Patch. I think it's an absolutely beautiful stamp set. And I think the photopolymer is really easy to use. I'm loving it. Thanks for visiting Elizabeth's Craft Room today. I look forward to seeing you again soon.